Have you ever been in a relationship where everything felt fine on the surface, but then one day, boom, you just get blindsided by a breakup where you're just wondering, where did I go wrong? How couldn't I have seen this coming? Why didn't I see the signs? How could I have been so stupid? Maybe this other person has been thinking about it for months and you didn't even have a clue. And don't even get me started on the whole keeping in contact with them thing. Like if you're still seeing them everywhere, hanging out in the same places, stalking their socials, that's just gonna feed all the what if thoughts. You're still texting and you're hoping that they're seeing what you're up to so that they regret their decision. It's like throwing gas on a fire, feeding that hope that just maybe they'll change their mind. First off, let's get into the science of it.
Science!
That warm, fuzzy feeling when you fall in love? Yeah, that's not magic. It's chemicals. Chemicals. Specifically, oxytocin and dopamine. These are the same chemicals that are released when you eat chocolate or, I don't know, win the lottery. So, falling in love, it's like the brain's little drug. You're literally addicted to them. When you break up, it's like your brain's going through withdrawal. Ever notice how you can't stop checking their Instagram and how every little thing reminds you of them? Your brain is craving that hit of dopamine that your ex used to give you. So it's not just emotional, it's literally a physical reaction. And it's not all about chemicals either. When you're in a relationship, you start to tie your own identity into that other person. You're no longer just you, you're you in the relationship. And when that's ripped away, some people are left asking themselves, who am I without them? Especially if you were struggling with self-esteem issues or not really knowing who you were before you got into the relationship. Imagine losing that relationship that gave you some answers. This confusion in your brain creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Your brain is trying to reconcile two very different realities, one where you're together and one where you're not. This brings us to one more science-related thing, neural pathways. Our brains do not like change. It takes energy for our brains to do anything. It really doesn't like expending energy. So it came up with a neat system to use less energy when doing repetitive things or things that you do all the time. Neural pathways are like trails through the wilderness. The more you travel a path, the more defined it becomes, making it easier and quicker to travel it the next time. In a relationship, your brain builds neural pathways that are tied to your partner, whether it's sharing your morning routine or getting little texts throughout the day or talking after work. These pathways become your shortcut to feeling safe and comfortable and secure. But after a breakup, your brain doesn't want to just hack through the jungle of moving on. It wants to go back to what it's used to, what's easy, what's comfortable, what's known. So it tries to take the path of least resistance, the familiar one leading back to your ex. It's like trying to make a new trail through the jungle when your brain is pointing at this other one that you've already walked down so many times and it's so easy and it's known. That's one of the reasons why moving on feels so damn hard. Your brain is wired to go back to what it knows best. All that science talk segues nicely into this next thing that I call the peripheral consequences effect. This is what I would say is the real reason why it's so hard to move on. When you break up with someone, you're not just breaking up with them, you're breaking up with an entire way of life. It's not just about losing date nights or good morning texts. It's way bigger than that. You're losing the routines you used to share together, like going to the coffee shop or meal prepping or going to the gym or watching shows. You're losing their family, the people that you may have endeared yourself with. Maybe you made friends with their siblings or their parents. You get along well with them. You're losing their family. Maybe you're losing mutual friends. It's like a divorce. You're splitting custody of the kids, but the kids are friends who choose sides. And one that hurts a lot more than people think is future plans. You guys might have had a whole life planned out together. All those future plans, all that potential, it's lost, at least with them. This loss doesn't just hit you in the heart. It shakes up your whole life. It's like grieving the life you had with them and the life you could and would have had with them instead of just the relationship itself. Your old and normal is now your new awkward and painful. Familiar waters are now foreign oceans. You're at a crossroads now where every choice could mean the difference between moving on faster or getting sucked back into those old bad habits that'll keep you hung up for longer. And remember, your brain is working overtime to make you slip up, to send that I miss you text, to make that phone call, to talk about them to your friends, all of it. So speaking of your brain trying to make you slip up, what are the most common mistakes that your brain tries to have you make? Introducing the How to Make Yourself Feel Worse list, post-breakup edition. Number 1. Romanticizing the relationship. Our brains love to play highlight reels of the relationship, remembering only the best. You remember the cute weekend getaway, but you conveniently forget the massive argument about how to load the dishwasher correctly. But this is your brain tricking you. It's like watching the trailer to a movie without remembering that the movie was actually kind of meh. Number 2, jumping into a new relationship too soon. There's nothing like a shiny new relationship to distract you from the dumpster fire of the old one. But if you're using someone else to fill the void, it's like putting a band-aid on a broken arm. It's not gonna heal properly. Plus, you're just gonna be dragging unresolved baggage into the next thing. Nobody wants to deal with your messed up shit. You gotta get yourself together before you can get another relationship together. Number 3, social media stalking. This is the worst. It's like pouring salt on the wound. You see them at a party, laughing, carefree, and you think they're all over it, and it sends you spiraling. No one's gonna post that picture of them crying with a bucket of ice cream on their kitchen floor at 2 a.m. Of course they're not. They're gonna post the picture where they're laughing and smiling and at the party and enjoying everything. Social media gives you a peek through a keyhole at someone's life and not the whole picture. So you assume, wrongly, that they're over it, when really they might have just posted that picture so you would see it in the first place. Number 4, isolating yourself. Breakups can make you feel like you just want to be alone and you just want to tough it out by yourself. Don't be afraid to reach out to your friends and family. Trust me, they've all been through it too. You gotta lean on other people and let them help you out just like you would if they were going through it. So just to recap why it's so difficult to move on. Our brains hate change. They're wired for routine and stability. That's why even if your relationship wasn't perfect, it was comfortable. When you break up, the routine is lost and your world is flipped upside down. There's the fear of the unknown. Maybe you were with this person for years and now you're staring down the barrel of an uncertain future. It's terrifying. What if you never meet someone else? What if they were the one? Existential crisis. And then there's also selective memory. Your brain filters out the bad stuff because it wants you to feel connected to the past. And you can also feel like you've invested too many sunk costs where you're already so deeply invested in that starting over makes no sense, where it's like you figure you're too far gone to quit now, but sometimes staying in is even worse. So how do you actually move on? I'm not gonna lie, it might take some time, but there are steps you can take to make that time healthier for you. Step 1, acknowledge the pain. Don't run from the pain. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it's going to be there for a little bit. Face it. The only way out is through. You got to let yourself grieve. Number 2, focus on self-care and growth. Use this time to rediscover who you are outside of the relationship. If a breakup should make you realize anything, it's that relationships can come and go, but you don't. You will be with yourself forever. You may not be with that person or the next person or the person after that forever, but you have to be with yourself forever. You can never leave yourself alone. You can never get free time from yourself. You are with you forever. So figure out who you are and make yourself better. Maybe pick up a new hobby, start a new workout routine, or just spend more time doing things you enjoy. It's about you now. Number 3, reconnect with your support system. Sometimes when we're in relationships, we start to not be able to reach out as much and we're busy with the person that we're in a relationship with. But once you're out of it, it's time to reconnect with those friends and that family that you maybe were not paying as much attention to. Don't isolate yourself. Lean on your friends and family. And if you need to, maybe even a therapist. Talking to someone might be able to help, or at least get it off your chest. Number 4, create new routines. One of the best things you can do is just shake it up. While things are already being shaken by the breakup, why not just add to the chaos and see where you land? Start doing things that don't remind you of your ex. New coffee shop, new gym, new Netflix series that they didn't introduce you to. It's a way to reclaim your life. If you shake it up, at least you're owning the shaking. Number 5, accept the new normal. Accept that things have changed. It's okay to feel lost for a bit, but in time, you'll settle into a new normal. The same way that mountains get slowly eroded by the elements over millennia, so too will the high peaks of pain and melancholy that are within you now. Time will erase it. You will live. You've survived everything else that you thought would be the end up until now. You will survive this. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. Number 6, cut them like cold turkey. Don't talk to them. Don't be friends. Don't follow them on socials. Try not to run into them. It might seem heartless, but you gotta build that space. Getting over someone has a cooldown clock, at least in the early stages. And that clock gets reset every time you interact with them. Interact can be as simple as just seeing something they posted online. You gotta get some distance and give your brain time to adjust to life without them. Show yourself that it actually is okay. You will survive. Life isn't over. Even if you guys ended on good terms, do what's best for you. You don't owe them anything. You won't get over them if you see or hear about them all the time. With time, patience, and maybe a little too much ice cream, you will get over them. You will move on. You'll be with other people, and you'll build a life for yourself that might be better than what you had before. That's a buffalo chicken wrap for today. Let me know down in the comments what kind of videos I can make moving forward, and Hit those like and subscribe buttons if you want to keep getting content like this. See you in the next one.